Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm pretty excited to show you a brand new drone from Holy Stone. This is the HS720R. The 720 series is like the cream of the crop or the highest end stuff that Holy Stone makes. And this is the new R version. This is the most advanced drone that Holy Stone has ever sold. Aside from the brushless motors and GPS, it's got a 3-axis gimbal inside the gimbal cover here, which is really nice. And it advertises a 3-kilometer range, which is far beyond anything that Holy Stone has ever produced before. It also has some advanced flight features like a time lapse modes, which I'll try to show you guys, which I've never seen it in a drone at this price point. So, you know, I did some testing on this drone a few days ago, and I was pretty impressed with it. The time lapse worked pretty well in all the modes except for the Dronie mode, which I'll touch on. So this might be an actually pretty good alternative to like the DJI Minis and stuff that are out there. At the price point, I think it's going to be around $350. I'm filming this a little bit before the drone is available to purchase on Amazon. So let's just take a quick look here, just at the drone very briefly, and then we'll get it up in the air and fly it. Of course, it is foldable. And I probably already posted a table review before this, so you might want to check that out. You can see the nice carrying case and all the accessories. You got your 2S LiPo in here. You got some LEDs, optical flow camera there. And it has different lights here on the front of the arms, and there's a light here in the rear of the drone itself. As for the controller, it's actually pretty nice. And this does work over Wi-Fi, but it has dual antennas, so I'll show you guys. Let me go ahead and set the drone down. It does have dual antennas here, and these are not fake. A lot of these drones have dual antennas, but they're just pieces of plastic put on there to make it look like you're actually getting some functionality out of them. There's a wire in both. I suspect one is probably the controller, and one of them is the Wi-Fi connection. That really helps the range. I did have this drone out about a little over half a kilometer the other day, and it was strong, and it was very little lag. In fact, the lag was less than my original MAVIC Mini. So I was pretty impressed with the range, just for the very fact, even though they advertise 3 kilometers, many drones of this class don't even do a half a kilometer. You got your phone clip holder. You got your 3 rate speeds here, low, medium, and high. They call the lowest like photography mode. You want to pull these down. You have a USB-C to recharge the internal battery. Your auto takeoff and landing. Your return to home with GPS and land. Your photo and video button. And this right here is your dial to tilt the camera on the drone. Your power button, your motor unlock. Pretty standard stuff on this. And to do a compass calibration, both sticks down and to the right will start the compass calibration. All right, enough jibber jabbering. I'm going to power this up. Assuming it doesn't have a compass calibration, I'm just going to skip right ahead to the actual flight. We'll take off. You guys, the compass calibration is a piece of cake, so you don't really need to see me tell you how to do that anyway. So let me get the drone powered up, and we'll get up in the air and see how it performs. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, I have everything connected here. Got a screen recording going for the app. It has not asked me to do a compass calibration, so we're not going to mess with it. Now, this has an advertised flight time of about 26 minutes max. We got to figure around 20 minutes. Probably it's more realistic, and there's a lot of features to test. So this is going to try to be as quick as we can doing each one of these things. So let's go ahead and let's start recording just some 4K at 60 video. Now, if you go into the gear here, there are quite a few settings here. Beginner's mode came default off, which is weird. Usually they don't do that. I am going to run an Imperial or British system just because I'm a little bit more comfortable with estimating that information compared to some. And then you can go in there, and that's where you can actually click on sensor status and do an actual compass calibration if you need to. So I'm going to flip it over to the video mode, but we don't necessarily need to mess with that because we can use the controller to switch between video. And you do have some video settings, brightness and ISO and all that in here. And you can click this other one, and you can switch between 4K and 1080p. We're going to do 4K at 30 so you can see the very best resolution this drone can do. But if you're going to do a lot of fast movements in your video, then I would recommend 1080p at 60 so you don't get so shuddery effects there as you're getting double the frame rates at 1080p at 60. So let's go ahead and start recording video, and the video is the upper right one. And it's going to start recording. I have a 32 gig SanDisk Extreme in there. It'll hold up to, I believe it was 128 gigs, maybe it was 256, I can't remember. And let's go ahead and do an auto takeoff. So we're going to press the motor unlock button here. And then if you want to do it from the controller, you can press the button here and it takes off. You can do it within the app, and then you have a little slider you can move, which is kind of cool, kind of like DJI. Let's just get it out here and let's just do some gimbal movements. I got it in the lowest rate. You can see this is the photography mode, very good for filming. The middle rate here, faster yaw, and then here's your sport rate. It's even quicker. This is what you want to fly in if you need to book it to somewhere or you're flying into the wind. Let's go into the middle rate, I think is what I want to stay in. There's a bit of wind at my back, so if you hear some mic noise, that's why. And let's just back it up here and drop the gimbal, the camera down a little bit here. And there I am. Let's just do a little rocking back and forth to see here in normal mode, how does that gimbal operate? Are we getting any shakes? In my test yesterday, I thought it looked fine. And let's see if we get any kind of tilt at the horizon. At times in this area I live, it may look like there's some tilt in the horizon, and it's just the natural lay of the land. So do keep that in mind. All right, enough of that. Let's take it out over the cemetery, or call it back here, and see just how it does on this return to home accuracy. If I can spit it out. Now this, even with the restrictions turned off, this is capped at 400 feet height. So I believe in the settings here, if we click that again, it'll let us get in there. It says here maximum height of 393, and then the distance it doesn't have a restriction on. So it's like, 3 kilometers is what it rates the range on this drone. So they don't want you going over that height restriction, which is very important. But we have a nice strong signal here. I'm not gonna take it too far because I want to make sure that we get it back here and test the other features before we run out of battery. That ought to be good enough right in there. Let's go ahead and press the return to home. We'll use the one on the controller. And it says it's returning home. We got returning up in the upper left-hand corner. It's gonna fly back here and land. And it looks like it's just gonna fly backwards. Some drones will turn around, some will just fly in reverse. Here it comes. Now this drone is well over 250 grams. So at the time being, it does absolutely have to be registered with the FAA, but it's gonna need that remote ID stuff. And that's one thing to keep in mind. I'm not gonna look up here, the sun is right into the camera. But this one doesn't, as far as I know, have any of the ID stuff in it. Holy Stone does have stuff registered. But I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that, because it really needs to have that module, I understanding, if you're concerned about that and you live here in the United States. All right, this looks like it's going to be pretty accurate. You're never going to end up perfect, but boy, that's darn close. All right, we're still recording. Let's just keep recording here. Let's tilt this gimbal up all the way. I think it is. And let's go ahead and do another auto takeoff. And let's do it from the app. And here is auto takeoff, and slide it over. All right, what we're gonna do now is let's test a couple of the smart features which will work with the video mode. You can record video while you're doing these smart modes, and we'll see. I don't know if it's going to stop and start a new video clip or not. But these will work with the 4K at 30. So let's see what happens here when we go over here, click on the little squares, and let's do the point of interest. So that's going to be a circling mode. So let's get it up a little bit higher, actually, because it's going to want to be up high. Let's click on that. Let's just see what it does. Is it starting to go? Sometimes it takes these drones a minute to do it. It looks like it is going, but it may be in the settings, it's extremely slow. But it is doing, let me lower the gimbal down here. It's going, but it's poking. It's taking its bittersweet time, but it is going. Very, very slow. Let's go ahead and see if I can give it, let's go maybe here. I think this is where you get that little, there we go, we cancel. A little blue circle you probably have to press on, which is a bit hard to see. Let's see in the settings here, was there anything? Yeah, there it is, orbit speed. So let's crank that up. Go out, it's gonna want to send that to the drone. Let's try it again now. So let's go ahead and go back there, circle, slide it over and see if it's much quicker now. Yeah. So I had it on the slowest speed. If it's gonna turn here, looks like it's just flying sideways. That's weird. I'm gonna try to cancel it. No? I'm not sure what it's doing. It's making a really big orbit. It's doing it. But boy, that's a gigantic orbit. Let's see if we can, it's really hard to see with the glare here. Here's that little circle. I'm trying to cancel it. There we go. It's very difficult to see that blue circle. Let's bring it back over here. So I don't want to fiddle with that anymore, but there's probably some more settings there. In the app, there might have been something on the maximum. Let's see here. I don't see it offhand, but yeah, there's setting the diameter of that circle. I don't know. That was a massive circle it was doing compared to the first one. So I don't know. In that mode, that's a little bit iffy. All right, let's go ahead and go to the follow me mode. Let's turn it around. So I want to get these time lapse modes demonstrated as well before we run out of battery. Let's put the drone over here so I can walk towards the cemetery and see if it follows us. So let's go to follow me and let's see how it works. These usually work pretty good, and let's see if it's gonna back up or yaw or what it's gonna do. And right now, let's put the camera up a little bit. There I am right there. Let's see. It is moving. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting the drone at the right distance. But I don't know. Now it's gonna move. So it is working. But I wouldn't say it's working great. Let's go this way and see if it. So it backed up. Yeah, it works. I don't think that's probably the greatest. And then we canceled it. So yeah, it works, but you know, and this is not a very big area. So on a, you know, if you're on a bicycle or something in a larger area, it might work a lot better. But I've seen ones work better than that. All right, let's go ahead and go into those time lapse modes. So we're gonna stop recording video and get that, make sure that that's saved. And it stopped. Very stable now. There's not much wind at the moment as well. Because this is gonna be a series of photos. Now when we click this, we can go in there and you see we have like a circle one, I think the first one's actually your free fly, or it just does it as you fly around. You have your Dronie, your straight line, and your orbit. The Dronie one is the one that's weird because it wants you to be at least 96 feet up. I don't know if that's 30 meters or something. Or it won't do it. So I'll show you guys. And that's not going to be good for a Dronie. So that's one thing they definitely need to fix. So let's go, I'll click on Dronie and look what it's gonna say, watch. It gives us some intervals there, so I'm gonna have to take off my sunglasses to see that. Let's set the angle at like, it's set at 45. Let's just use the default here. And let's go ahead and click it. It's gonna say, look, you gotta be 98 feet. So let's get up. We are up. We gotta go up more. We gotta get basically 100 feet to do this. Okay, now we're high enough. But look, we're way up there. What good is a Dronie gonna do at this height? So let's click that. Let's click on Dronie. You can click these little ones to move, to change. Let's do 45 degrees since we're so high. The duration, 15 seconds is fine. The playback speed, let's just leave it here. The speed, I've got it at 30, 3 feet per second. Let's go ahead and keep it at that. Let's go ahead and start it and see what it does. So it's going to take a series of photos as it flies backwards. And there it's going. Sunglasses back on, guys. So I'll include this. It's going to take these photos, and as it takes these series of photos, it's going to compile them into a very short video clip. So you guys will see this running alongside, but it's not going to match up with the flight here because it's going to be condensed because it's a series of photos. And once it's done, the little timer, the X will disappear, and we know that the mode's done. It does not return back. Now we are up 180 feet, I think. So we're up pretty high, not nearly, well below restrictions, but, and the drone won't let us go above that. So let's drop it back down. So that to me is absolutely worthless. They need to see if they can go into this app and add a video Dronie mode, and then either drop the height requirement for this time-lapse Dronie, or just delete the mode altogether because it's just stupid at that height. All right, let's go ahead and try another one. Now these do have to be also at 100 feet. And let's try the straight line one, because that one's going to be one of the more useful ones. Let's turn it around here, and we're going to fly it out over the cemetery and try to get some of the clouds. Make sure the camera's up. Again, my camera keeps plopping forward, guys, so if it keeps tilting, I apologize. And let's just get it up there, because we're going to have to get it up to 100 feet. There it is. Okay, we should be high enough now. Let's do straight line. And again, you can see our intervals here, and again, it's hard to see on the screen, but we're going forward, and we'll do 15 seconds, 2 times speed, and then we got our speed of 7 feet per second. I'm gonna just leave it at defaults because it's so hard to see because of the glare. And here we're going. And there the drone is going forward. As it flies forward, it's going to take a series of photos. And again, if you're seeing the video here, it's not going to match up in real time because we're getting a lot less photos than we are in a video clip. But you could do this at a really slow speed. And it says here, flying mode, we may be at low battery. That's why we're getting beeping. Hopefully we got a series. If we didn't, it's because we ran out of battery. So it's flying back now. And I think we've got low battery, guys, and it's wanting to turn back home and land. So yeah. So if we didn't get video there of the time lapse, it's because we got low battery. That's why I was trying to hurry this up. It's gonna come back and land. What I may do is I may do a follow-up video where I can really spend some time on these time lapse modes. But do keep in mind that you really have to go in there and mess around with the different settings and what you want to get the kind of time lapse you want. Because, good, the beeping stopped. If you want to fly this drone slowly forward, that would be ideal, not fast, and take photos at like 15 seconds, and then you can really capture like movements of clouds. That's what this is really useful for. So you'd want to go slow and capture your photos farther apart, so you can more notice the differences and changes going on in the background. All right, guys, that wraps up the initial flight review of the new Holystone HS720R. Overall, it functions pretty well. I don't know what that flight time was. I'm sure it wasn't 26 minutes. But the time lapse, I think, works pretty good for my testing, aside from that Dronie just being silly. So I think I think it's around $350. There'll probably be some coupons. If you can get it in around the $300 price range, I don't think that's bad. It certainly does seem to have pretty good range. I probably won't flight range test this drone because here in the United States, flying out of line of sight, it's just the risks outweigh the benefit of testing that here. But I did have it like over a half kilometer yesterday, the day before, and it was rock solid. So I think this drone's pretty good at around $300. I would say it's probably better than the original MAVIC Mini in terms of its features, but I wouldn't. It's definitely not better than the Mini 2. So if you're comparing this to the Mini 2, the Mini 2's got the lower weight, so it's going to have the restrictions. It's got that going for it. Otherwise, it's the camera, all the other stuff's pretty similar. This has better flight modes than the Mini 2. All right, guys, that wraps up the flight review. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Stay tuned. I'll probably have another video for this coming soon to the channel. While you're at it, click the bell. That way you're notified every time I do upload a new video. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.